Our next speaker is Mr. Megat Ardian Wira, Senior General Manager of Strategy at Malaysia Airports Holdings Berhad. Mr. Megat was appointed as the Senior General Manager of Strategy in March 2021. Prior to this, he served Malaysia Airports as the General Manager for Corporate Planning and Transformation. His extensive experience includes being a consulting trainer for International Air Transport Association and other airlines specializing in digital and commercial transformation and strategy initiatives. He also has a substantial background in the aviation industry, where he worked with AirAsia and Malaysia Airlines before joining Flynas, a low-cost carrier based in Riyadh, as its Chief Commercial Officer. In addition to his experience in aviation, he was the Chief Marketing Officer at Malaysia Healthcare Travel Council, an agency under the MOH. Today, Mr. Megat will be talking on Malaysia Airports, Catalysing Tourism Recovery and Growth. Please welcome Mr. Megat.
Assalamualaikum. Good morning, everyone. Okay, so I'm following Datuk Musa's keynote address. So I have an unenviable task of exciting you guys with what's in store at KLIA and what's in store for connectivity, right? That's coming forward. Okay, so how do we get ready for Visit Malaysia year 2026? So that's the main thing at most of the airports and most of the aviation world in Malaysia. So what I'm going to share with you is more on our route development plans, our connectivity, the commercial offerings that we have, passenger experience, and how do we improve the facilities in KLIA going forward. All right. So let me start with route network and connectivity. So this is one of the more passionate projects that we have in Malaysia airports. So it's not just about building infrastructure, it's how do you get passengers in, how do you get airlines in. And I think we've moved away from just infrastructure providers. We are now a key stakeholder, a key collaborator in getting all these airlines in, getting all the passengers in, as well as once they come in, what do we do with them? How do we entice them? How do we make the experience a lot more delightful, a lot more pleasurable? And this is a very easy business, actually, this aviation business. It's if you look at it, it's taking people where they want to go, right, on time, preferably with their bags, right? Preferably with their bags. And you have to do it in a safe, reliable, and very predictable manner, right? So all passengers want that, right? So it's pretty much a very easy business, right? So Malaysia airports or any airport around the world, it is part of that relationship with all the other stakeholders, right? So we're a major part of that. Not just an infrastructure provider, but we are, a collaborator, and it is a one-stop shop for all of that, right? So going forward, so this is the product. So in each and every airport you see around the world, it's all about the product. It's all about the destination. So if you go to Kuala Lumpur, you go to Singapore, Dubai, it's all about where can I fly to out of this airport, right? So we have 5 international airports, 17 domestic airports, and 17 STOL airports. STOL are short takeoff and landings, right? Very small airports. Those are the ones in rural Sabah Sarawak. Closer to home here, it's something like Pulau Tioman, Pulau Redang, right? Those STOL airports. So those are STOL airports. But the focus here is on the international airports. So that's where the tourism comes in, right? So international airports. The main one is, of course, the main gateway, Kuala Lumpur, followed by Penang, Langkawi, KK, and of course, Kuching, right? So in 2023, looking back, we have 64 airlines versus about 68 or 69 airlines in 2019. So we're almost there. Right, so most of these airlines have already come back are already online. 99 international destinations, over 2,500 weekly frequencies, and over 1 million seat capacity, right? So if you look at where they're coming from, mostly is still from the region. The ASEAN, we're still a very strong ASEAN hub. Most of our local carriers, Malaysia Airlines, Batik, AirAsia, are concentrated on the regional short haul, anything within 3 to 4 hours, right? So they fly. Second, we have quite a lot of North Asia as well, right? So there were a lot of questions on when is China coming back, is China coming back, when are they going to come back? Most of I think the airlines that I'll share in a while, you can see that most of them are coming in from China, right? So it's China, it's Japan, it's North Korea. That's where North Asia is coming from. Then the other two that is building up is Middle East. Middle East, I think we have more Middle East connections to Middle Eastern countries directly than any other hub in this region, right? So we're pretty good in Middle East. For example, you can go to Dubai, Muscat, right, Egypt, all via either direct or indirect. And of course, South Asia. South Asia is India, Bangladesh, and a lot of them are coming in. The India market is coming in from 2024 onwards. A lot of new airlines as well. And on top of that, beyond the network of our local carriers is where Malaysia Airlines and Batik Air especially, they sign code share agreements. So whatever they're not flying, they actually sign up with their partners, the One World carriers. That's for them to get more destinations. So the more destinations they get, the more connections they get, the more passengers can come in. So that's where the connectivity of KLIA is there, right? So a lot more connectivity, not just on direct, but indirect as well. So that's where the tourism is coming in. So that's the product of 2023. Now 2024, going forward, it's a lot more exciting coming up also. We have 17 new airlines, right? So it will surpass 2019. Additional weekly frequencies, additional weekly seat capacity as well. So where are these guys coming from, right? And it will start March 2024 because that's the summer schedule that most airlines adhere to. So we are working very closely with some of these airlines. From Europe, for example, is Frankfurt. Coming in from Frankfurt is Lufthansa, and that's five times a week, right? Lufthansa. A new airline that's coming in from North Africa is Air Algeria, right? So Air Algeria is coming in, and of course Fly Dubai is coming into Penang and Langkawi. So this is a sister company to Emirates. So they're coming directly to Penang, directly to Langkawi, and there's a lot more tourism coming there as well. And of course, we're seeing a strong surge in India. So Air India Express, a new airline called Vistara is coming in, as well as the Air India proper also coming in to Langkawi, Penang, as well as Kul. So these market, I think it helps a lot with our visa waiver. When they come in, they also transit to a lot of other destinations beyond Kul. Right, so they will actually come to Kuala Lumpur, they spend a bit of time in Kuala Lumpur, then they actually connect to Australia, New Zealand via our local carriers here. So it's a win-win also. ASEAN-wise, Thai Lion Air, Viet Travel Airlines, and Sky Angkor Airlines. A lot of these airlines, you see, post-pandemic, post-COVID, that I'll share in a while, there's a lot of new airlines that's coming up, right? They got a lot of probably cheaper aircraft on lease, right? And a lot of them are from overseas, so they're coming in, they're looking for routes to come in, right? So on our part, we do have the slots, we do have the timings, so that's where we do have especially the capacity, so that's when we welcome them in also. And I think the main question today was where China is at the moment, and where are they coming from and when are they coming from. So good news is they're coming in from Hong Kong, Shanghai, Nanning, Haikou, also from Hong Kong, also from Beijing. And they're coming into Kuala Lumpur, BKI, Penang, and Langkawi, mostly. And it's all from 2024 onwards, right? So the bellwether of whether they will come in or not is always the airlines. To me, it's always the airlines, because when the airlines plan for the flight, when the airlines schedule the flight, that means the demand is there. Airlines, I'm from the airline industry, I've been there for about 20 years. Airlines will not start a route if they cannot sell it, right? So basically, they will already engage with the travel agencies, who engage with the community, who engage with all the travelers. The demand is there, then only they put on the flight. Then they schedule for that flight. So we're pretty assured that China will come back, although not as anticipated, but it will come back slowly, I think 2024, 2025, right? So where else are we looking at? I think the big one everybody's looking at is, of course, the one world carriers, which is British Airways, Iberia, and Royal Jordanian. So these are our targets in 2024, highlights there. Then 2025, we're going to concentrate a little bit more on Europe, because we're not, Kuala Lumpur as a whole has always been quite weak in Europe, right? So this is where we're going to put in a lot of effort for 2025 going onwards. And of course, 2026 is more targeting the Americas also. So a lot of this is because there is no natural traffic, right? So we have to entice them, we have to incentivize them going forward. But all of this is getting ready for our Visit Malaysia year 2026. So in collaboration with the government, in collaboration with some of the stakeholders, we aim to bring a lot of all these airlines in, all right? So it's constant engagement. So how do we do this? So airlines actually take a year plus in planning. They don't just, they don't just say, okay, like 3 months' time, okay, let's put on a flight. So airlines actually work in two ways. Number one, there has to be demand there for that particular route. Number two, can that route, there is demand, but can that route make money or not? Right? They always say, can that route make money or not? I can fill up the flights, no problem. But if I'm selling the flights at a very cheap rate, cannot cover my costs, I will not fly. Right? So, and the third is, of course, the third is, of course, do I have aircraft or not? Right? So all these three things, right? So the aircraft, of course, during COVID, a lot of aircraft went into hibernation. Then post-COVID, once the borders open, then a lot of these airlines have to queue up to get all the aircraft ready again. So right now, if you look into the MRO market, it's really packed. Really chock-a-block queue up. So once those aircraft comes online again, then only they will put into those routes. But again, they will see, okay, which routes can make money, right? So how do airports and airlines engage this? Right? How do we engage them? So we incentivize them. So it's a lot of engagement, it's a lot of marketing, it's a lot of pitching as well. So Datuk Musa was here earlier. So actually, we work hand in hand with Tourism Malaysia to pitch this to airlines. Right, to why you should come to Malaysia. So we give the business case, we give the tourism case, where people can go to, what sort of hotels there are, all the tourism things. On the airline side, they want to see whether there is any incentive, monetary-wise, whether what the government can do, what the airports can do. So this is where we help them with the network incentives, with the with the marketing incentives, and any aeronautical things that we can, any aeronautical expenses that we can help them with, which is parking, landing fee waivers, aero bridge fee waivers. So it doesn't move the needle, but it helps them, right? It helps them on a per flight basis. So it's a lot of engagements. I think going forward, 2023, I was at Roots World in Istanbul. We got a lot more airlines coming in, a lot more airlines are interested coming in from 2024 onwards. February 27th to 29th, Malaysia, we are hosting Roots Asia in Langkawi, right? So that's a 3-day event with most of the airlines around the world coming into, talking to each other, and that's where we get a lot more airlines that's coming in, hopefully from 2024, end of 2024 onwards. And that's where the likes of British Airways, Qantas, Finnair, all the one world carriers will also come, and that's where we engage them. So what else do we need to move this forward? And on this side, it's more on the acceleration programs. That's where if you restart your connections or you restart a new, or you start a new destination, that's where we give you additional incentives, right? And we work with Mohd, we work with some of the, I think, agencies also to bring all this, airlines in, to incentivize them, to promote them also. All right, so that's on the airline side. Now, what are we doing for the passengers? So that's all about bringing airlines, okay? Now, airlines are just airlines, but inside those airlines are the people, right? So what do they do? What do we want to do with them? Or how do we entice them? How do we delight them when they come into the country already, right? So I think Datuk Musa shared earlier. So the passengers nowadays, the trends and the types of passengers has changed. It really has changed. So what we see is, how many of you for the past, when the borders open, went on revenge travel? Okay. By your giggling, I thought, okay, quite a lot lah. All right. So now it's no longer revenge travel, right? Now no longer. So we've had that revenge travel in 2022, 2023, done, right? So now it's a more, what we see is a lot, it's 4 types of travels. Number 1 is gig travel. So you travel actually to see performing, people perform. How many of you went to Coldplay concert here? Tak ada. Come on. Okay, fine. How many of you are buying concert tickets to see Coldplay in Singapore? 1. Wrong crowd. Okay. All right, but outside this room, I'm pretty sure there's quite a bit lah. All right. So people are actually buying concert tickets outside of Malaysia to see the concerts. My children, for example, they are K-pop fans. So there's a lot of K-pop artists that goes into Singapore, right, for one day show. So and it's always full. So they always want to do that. So that's gig travel. The other one is foodie trips. Right? People actually want to try different food in Malaysia, so they will come. I think Dato Musa mentioned something about Ipoh also, food in Ipoh, so foodie trips. Third is TV-related trips. So I watched this show called Somebody Feed Phil, right, on Netflix. So they have these episodes, country by country. So he's gone through, I think, a few ASEAN countries, Bangkok, Singapore, and things like that. So I was watching with my kids. So they showed, I think, one of the European countries, and the food really looked good. So my kids actually plan already, without my knowledge, plan to go to go through this trip, saying it's okay, you're from the airport, you can get free travels, But it's already starting to that, right? So TV-related stuff. And the fourth is this is more mindset, wellness, and things like that. People actually go to travel to take a break so they can have rest. They can actually sleep better when they go on holidays, right? So we've had like 2 to 3 days trips where people just go, to the resorts, eat, sleep, swim, repeat, right? And a lot of sleep, so they catch up on the sleep. So those are the types of travels. Now, the types of the travelers that we see, there's a lot of documenters, wherever they go, these are all your new TikTokers, like new millennials, right? They document everything. They're type of travelers who celebrate things, anniversaries, birthdays, they go off. And of course, there are a little bit more, what we see is the luxury travel. So those who go on business class, first class, as well as and upgrades. So all of these travelers that's coming in, so what are we going to do? So what have we been doing, right, for each and every one of them? So different personas. So over the years, I think when we started off about 20 years ago, getting the airport up and running, especially KLIA, it's a 25-year-old airport, it's always been operations-centric. It's always been engineering-centric. If it works, albeit it looks ugly, it works, it's done, right? And it works, fine. But now we're shifting to a very customer-centric, right? So passengers nowadays, each and every one of us, yes, if we're on business trip, duty travel, we just want to go in, out, and that's it. But when you go with your family, when you go on travel, you want that leisure time. What we want to go through, me included, is actually an emotionally driven journey, right? So we want end-to-end, seamless, easy, relaxed, and a lot of dwell time, right? So that's what we're doing to improve the passenger experience, right? So behavioral changes are also there for passengers. For example, we're having a lot more upgrading of terminal facilities. These are all hygiene stuff. Additions to new immigration counters to ease the queuing up, especially for tourists. I won't go through all of them, but it's more on infrastructure as well as passenger-facing stuff, right? So going into, I think, 2024, you will see quite a lot of these changes coming already, gearing up for 2026. And also, we're uplifting KLIA. Now, KLIA is 26 years old. We started operations in 1998. So a major design change is coming up. Of course, we're not going to improve or we're not going to do anything to the shell of it, but inside it, we have to redesign the design flow, and we're looking at the design identity as well, right? So that's one of the things that I'm currently working on as well. So each touch points when you go to the departure, as well as when you come in through immigration arrivals and through the immigration hall, all of those will be new touch points that you're going to see from 2024 onwards, right? And of course, we're going to have more attractions, exhibitions, live performances, interactive. Live performances, not Coldplay, but we'll see what this group wants, right? So it's all about emotionally driven journeys and how we want to make it happen, how we're going to make it happen for the passengers, right? So that's a bit of a timeline and what it entails. Going forward a bit is more on the digitalization. So we have this at the airport right now. So use your face. What we're doing is like use your face as your boarding pass, right? So it's pretty easy. It takes only 1 or 2 minutes to do. You register at a totem pole. You put in your IC. You register your face. Takes a picture of your face. And from your face, you go to the next kiosk, which is your baggage drop-off. It has all your details on it already, your flight details, your IC, your passport, your name. From there, your bags are dropped off. You go to the security checks. It lets you in all the way to the boarding gate, right? So you don't really use your boarding pass anymore, right? So we're working with a lot more airlines, especially our local carriers, to have all of that seamless, right? So your boarding pass is actually your face now. Right? So going forward, also we're going to work with immigration. We'll work with retailers. So that means all of it will be connected to just one face. So single token. So that token is your face, right? And upcoming, I think, enhancement programs for passengers. We have Wi-Fi, better Wi-Fi, 5G connectivity, My Airport apps, where you have a lot more information, a lot more flight tracking, your chatbots for assistance, and also indoor wayfinding. So there's a lot more coming up also. Then, getting into the commercial bits of it, right? So, if you've traveled a bit for parts of 2023, so you see, especially at the satellite building, there's a lot more offerings, especially F&B. You have Hard Rock Cafe, you have Serai, you have GB, you have Jamie Oliver's, you have Taco Bell, you have McDonald's, KFC is all there. Now, why, you may ask, is, okay, why do you have a lot more F&Bs, So 25 years ago, or 20 years ago, when the airport first opened, we had a lot more shops. We had a lot more duty-free, a lot more retail, but not so much F&B. Right? So I remember traveling with my parents at that time. So whenever we had yes. So whenever we had a family trip, so my dad would make sure that we eat at home first. Makan kat rumah dulu. Then only go to the airport and fly off. Not because he is cheap, but because there were not a lot of offerings, right? There was just McDonald's, KFC, not really food, right? For you to travel. So that has changed, right? So nowadays, because people travel differently, so what we see is families, especially, even on business or in duty travel, even if it's leisure, they come to the airport and they will eat first. They will eat. They will have a lot of dwell time. They want to get through the check-in processes. They want to get through the immigration. They want to get through all of that. And then when they pass through immigration, you have all the time, right? You have at least about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Some of the business passengers, they will go to the lounges, but most of the others, 80% of the travelers are all economy class passengers. They will actually eat first, right? And then after that, they will go. So when we have that pattern, when we have that trend, then we say, okay, definitely we must have a lot more F&B. So that's where we entice all these other brands. We engage with other brands to come in. So that's where you see a lot of brands that I mentioned earlier, which is Jamie Oliver's, Hard Rock Cafe. And there's more to come also, right? Local cuisines as well as international cuisines. So that's more on the commercial reset, right, coming up to. So we also have duty-free, a lot more, not just cosmetics, perfumes, but we also have, for different travelers, we do have liquor, we do have cigarettes and things like that for going forward. And also we've redesigned our store layouts, and this is actually coming into KLIA also in 2024. So there's a lot more ambience, there's a lot more commercial things that's coming, there's a lot more look and feel that's refreshed, that's coming into KLIA, as well as this is in Kota Kinabalu, right? And of course, on our side, we have the lounges, right? So we have two brands. One is Plaza Premium, and the other one is Travel Club Lounge and Global Lounge. This Global Lounge is a bit more on the, I would say, the first class, a bit more premium, and this is more on the, I think, the comfortable travelers. So that's all that's ready already in KLIA 1, right? So that's the presentation. So I hope I got you excited about traveling again. We Malaysians, of course, we travel a lot, but also we welcome a lot more tourism. So we're getting that done, right, for the next few years or so. So next time you travel to KLIA, please do see, the changes. And we welcome a lot of input as well. So in the My Airport apps, we do have a section in the apps where you can actually give your inputs, and then we actually take them, and then we'll workshop it going forward. All right. Q&A. All right.
Hello, hi, I'm Gloria from The Sun. Just now we had a separate PC with Dato concerning one of the challenges, because the government has set a target, a higher target, post-COVID. So one of the challenges he says faced by, example, airline companies is a shortage of aircraft in order to support, the growing numbers of tourists that are expected. Can you share with us further, and what are your strategies to mitigate the risk? Thank you.
All right. So aircraft shortages, I think they're there, but is I think getting better. I think once in 2022, a lot of the aircraft actually were grounded, and I think beginning 1992 is when most borders already open. Hence, when the borders open, a lot of the aircraft that were grounded, they had to go through maintenance, just like our cars, right? Just like the cars, you get to get it lubricated again and all that, especially the engines. So, like I said earlier, it went through a queuing system at the MRO. So what we hear is what we engage with the airlines that's going forward 2024, 2025, not just the aircraft that's coming out of the maintenance hangars. That's coming into 2024, so there's a lot more capacity coming in, that's number one, but also a lot of aircraft orders that has been ordered from before that are being delivered in 2024, 2025. So when that comes, I think it's gradual, but when that comes, you will see a lot more frequencies being added, number one, a lot of new routes that's being added by the other airlines. How we at the airports, how we try to work with them is we don't have a channel to the MRO providers, but we do have incentive programs like I stated earlier and how to bring them forward.
Any more questions?
Just now you mentioned about refurbishment of this new airport and stuff. What's the current NLE one, and what's next NLE area?
Sorry?
Net lettable area.
Net lettable area.
Yes.
I don't have that figure with me right now, but we can get it for you right after this.
Yeah.
Net
Right.
lettable
Thanks.
area. Okay.
Are there any more questions?
Hi, thank you for the clarification on the KLIA 1. Is there any plans for KLIA 2 expansion in terms of improving the commercial side of KLIA2 as well? Because a lot of flights, low-cost terminal is coming from there.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so KLIA2 is actually quite unique because KLIA1 is operated by Malaysia Airports, right? Whatever you see in KLIA1, the car parks, the hotel, Sama-Sama Hotel, and all the terminal, whether it be airside and landside, is all operated by Malaysia Airports. But KLIA2 is a bit unique. There's two separate buildings, if you see, right? Two separate buildings. When you park your car and you go through a mall, right? You park your car, you go through a mall. That's a joint venture between us and another company, right? The company that runs the shopping mall. Okay? So all commercial units are handled and managed by the JV company, right? So we don't have a big say in what type of shops go in, the refurbishment and things like that. It's really handled by our JV partner, which is also a shopping mall sort of company, right? Then when you go through the shopping mall, you come across like an open air corridor, then you go into the terminal. Now that terminal, that proper terminal is run by Malaysia Airports, and the commercial retail outlets, the duty free is run by us actually, right? So there's two separate buildings in KLIA2. So on our side, what we've been doing for KLIA2 is of course there's airside and there's landside. I think are you familiar with airside and landside? So okay, so sorry, aviation speak again. So once you clear immigration, that's called airside, right? So airside, once you clear immigration. So anything before immigration is landside. So on our side, that's where we have control over all units, all retail units. So before you depart, at your check-in counters, before you go into the immigration, I think we had the new shops in Din Tai Fung is there. Opposite there is Starbucks, and then further down we have Mary Brown, Jollibee, the new one, and then there's a few things. Kenangan Coffee is also there, right? So there's a lot more things that's come up in KLIA2. Then in the terminal itself, once you pass immigration, there's Heinemann duty free. So Heinemann is of course one of our partners as well. So there's a lot more duty free products as well, right? And then when you go down to the international side of KLIA2, then you have that big open space, right? If you're KLIA2 traveler, then you have a lot more F&B stuff. There's Costa Coffee. There is a new brand outlet there, and there's also a sleeping pod sort of capsule hotel that you have there, right? So there's a lot more commercial offerings there as well for KLIA2. Okay, any other questions? If not, then hopefully okay, just one more.
I'm sorry, because you was in the press conference just now, I think I might have missed the initial part of your briefing presentation. So you probably addressed this already. I just want to ask again, where are we with the aerotrains, and are there any updates? And
I think that's a hot topic, which is non-topical. We'll make an announcement in due course, an official announcement in due course when it comes. All right. Okay, so
if there are no more, sorry.
One more? Okay, so hopefully we'll see you, everyone at KLIA traveling soon. All right, thank you.
If there are no more questions, on behalf of Hong Leong Investment Bank, I would like to thank Mr. Megat for sharing his insights with us today. Now we would like to invite Encik Wan Karudin, Senior Vice President and Head of Dealing for Institutional Sales of Hong Leong Investment Bank, to present our token of appreciation to Mr. Megat. Please give our speaker a round of applause.